Hey guys, as the thumbnail says, we're going to be installing those HCmotion headlights today on my IS. If you guys saw my last video, we did a full review, unboxing, and testing on the bench of all the different features of the HCmotion. Today we're going to go ahead and put them on the car. Once we get the headlights on the car, we'll go ahead and put it in the driveway 25 feet from the door, and we'll measure the light levels and see what we get. And then I'll compare them to the vlands and then the islands LEDs I have on there now. And we'll see how the output is. And after that, I'll go take it for a test drive and we'll see how it shines on the road. So stay tuned. Before we get started, we want to mark where our headlights are so we can aim the new ones. And you also want to mark where you park your car so that way you can put it back right on the same spot and aim it. All right, we got the car up on the lift, putting this max jacks in use. Got it high enough where I could take the bumper off easily and access the headlights. All right, we got the bumper off, so we gotta take the 3 screws that take the headlights off. So you got 1 screw right here on the fender. You've got 1 more right here tucked under this guy right here. So make sure you don't break it just to get that one right there. And then you got 1 right here, and that should be the 3 that hold it together. And then your clip on the side here, your clip on the side is pretty easy. You just pop this thing out and you just bend this white clip and it just pops that thing right out. If you got an older car or one that's been in the rust belt, you might have to wiggle this thing because the pins might be corroded on the inside. Like I said earlier, just make sure you pop this clip right here out of the fender. A lot of people forget about that and kind of wedge this thing out, or they force it out and they end up breaking this tab right here, but you just kind of pop this guy right out of the thing. Oh yeah, got my Depot LED retrofits right here. Those things have been serving me nice for 4 years. Really 2, because I haven't really barely used them because I was riding on those vlands for a while. But those are gonna be up for sale right there. If anybody's interested, let me know. So my headlights had all these extra harnesses here for my depots down there that I just showed you. All part of my wiring that I did. A lot of it was just wiring power for the DRLs and other options that are added onto there. Your car probably won't have this big old mess of wires. Yeah, look at that jumble mess of wire that I just pulled out from my Depot custom ones. Whoever ended up buying this, I'll go ahead and just make sure I label everything. I go through the harness again and clean it all up so that way it makes it plug and play on your car. So if you guys recall from my last video on the review, there's only 2 wires that we need to connect to make these HCmotions work. We need to connect this 1 wire right here to the fuse block. And then the other red wire that just fell to the ground right there, we have to connect that to the battery. So on my car, since I already ran the DRL before, I have the fuse right here. And I actually have it going through the actual fuse block down to the bottom underneath all this stuff. So I took it all out. I ran 1 wire down to here and it came out right here, which is the blue wire. I just ended up clipping it. But for this application, I'm just gonna cut the HCmotion one and solder it right here so I don't have to do any work. As for the power, for the actual constant power, I actually tapped it out of this guy right here. For your case on the HCmotions, you can just go straight to the battery terminal, the positive terminal right here, and just tap into this nut right here or there. It doesn't matter which one as long as it's on the battery, but mine's already tapped inside of here. As you can see right there, that little red heat shrink onto that lug, that's where I pulled the power, and it's actually coming out right here, and there's an inline fuse that I've got right here, and it goes down to the side and then out right down here. So I've got that wire right there. So I'm gonna use that as my constant power for this application. So I was looking at the harness and it looks like this harness is for a right-hand drive car just because the way they taped everything together. So for our car in the US, you just remove the tape right there because you want this side of the harness on the battery side, which is up here on the passenger side, and then you want the other end of the harness on that side, which is where the fuse block is. That's one of the things I noticed to make your life easier so you don't end up routing these wires all over the place when you don't have to. To fish the wire across the radiator support, you want to use that hole right there. Pro tip, take the fuses out of that AFS fuse, put it through that hole first before you put the other harness through, and it goes right through easily. On this side, it's a little bit tighter because the cable for the hood release is here. So you just gotta make sure you wedge it through there. But like I said, remove the fuses on here, and this thing will slide through slowly as long as you put it through first before you put the other end right here. So as I was fishing this thing across, I noticed that this wire is probably like 6 to 10 inches too short because the harness actually needs to go right over to here to plug up to the headlight. And then when you put it across the radiator support, it's barely enough length to get it through. I don't know if they were expecting you to run it across the front right here, but I'd rather run it across the radiator support just because it's cleaner that way. So I may have to extend these. Hopefully I don't have to. There's enough room, but it's gonna be tight. I made my connections for the DRL power, which goes up to this fuse right here. So you just add a fuse into that slot. And then over here, we made that connection up to there, up to my existing power. If you guys are doing this from scratch, you just run that same red wire up to there and make that connection. Almost jumped the gun in installing those. I forgot you gotta transplant your brackets, both those brackets and possibly the metal brackets for the actual harness. You gotta transfer it over. All right, got them up. They're running now and working. So we'll test them. When you hit the unlock, it goes into the sequential motion. It stays on for like 10 seconds. And then once it shuts off and you hit lock, lock just turns on. It doesn't do the animation during the lock. As far as the wiring goes, you just gotta tuck the harness under here. It doesn't have any provision to mount that little bar that this thing clips to, so you just end up just tucking it right here. If you're in an area where it gets wet a lot, you may want to make sure this thing doesn't gather any water or collect any water inside the harness. Plug on this side, the driver's side, is a little bit hard to get to when you get into there, so just make sure you have your enough slack in here to work with. Passenger side, you have much more room to work with since there's nothing down here. So you got a lot more room to get everything connected and everything. I just tucked it right here against that harness. So as far as adjusting goes, right now with the way they set it, you can see the adjustment motor right there, and you just get a screwdriver in there and turn that thing. Or if you can get a wrench down there, maybe a 10mm, you could turn that white knob. The side to side, you can see that little hole right here on the fender. That's where you get the screw right through there to reach the side to side adjustment. On the passenger side is a lot easier to get to. You can see it right there next to the intake, and then that little cutout on the fender, and get the screwdriver in for the side to side adjustment there. So this is actually a better position than trying to get the OEM adjustments. So we'll go ahead and go outside and adjust these to the right height now. You can see the initial beam looks pretty good as far as the headlight to headlight goes. It's a little bit low compared to what I had it on, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it up a little bit to where I had it before, just to see how the output on the road ends up being. All right, the horizontal adjustment doesn't go anywhere I tried to go in both directions and it barely moved anything, so I'm just gonna leave it as that. It is spaced about the same as my previous ones were. I'm gonna pull it back 50 feet and see if they merge, but right now we'll go ahead and take the light levels and see where we're at on these. Start right at the cutoff and the step. So we're at 250 lux. We'll move down, down. I mean, this is much better than the VLANs, I can tell you that. Yep. When we compare it to the VLANs, it's like half the output. These are comparable to my bi-LEDs. Nothing close to my D2Ss on my IS300, but very respectable as far as output goes. Right now we got the bi-LED high beams right now. You can see the high beam right there. That's where the high beam output is. Not that great. Yep, not as good as the low beam, but good enough to light up the trees and the signs when you're in the back of the dark roads. So we're about 50 feet back and the beams haven't merged yet like my IS300, but I think when it goes further down the road, it'll merge eventually. You already know before I move any further, I'm gonna be coating these with some Armor Shield 9 ceramic coat just to protect them from the sun and from damage. If you guys wanna get a discount on some Armor Shield for yourself, check out the links down in the description. I have a coupon for $20 off your first bottle. Check them out. It's a very easy DIY ceramic coat. If you haven't seen the videos of me putting this on the car, go ahead and check out those videos too. All right, we got this baby back on. Everything looks good now. The one thing I noticed is that the brackets for this thing, for the bumper and everything, doesn't snap in correctly anymore with these lights. So the alignment is not that great as far as that bracket goes. Because before, even with my depots, they were a little bit iffy on the snapping in, but now they're not even close. I could actually see the nub that it's supposed to snap into. It's about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch off on this side. On this side, same thing. Before on that other one, it would snap in properly. Now it's not even close, which kind of annoys me. Maybe I'll take it apart and adjust it again one day. The last thing you need to do for this install is to pull the AFS fuse if you have HIDs and AFS on your car. As you can see, it's pretty easy to pull out. It's just one fuse. Just find it, pull it out, and you're good. All right, we're gonna go for a little spin around the neighborhood. As you can see, my neighborhood is pitch black. Really can't see much out here, but we'll go ahead and see how this looks compared to the IS300. This thing is not gonna be as bright, but I figure it'll be better than those VLANs. It might be better than those eye lenses I had on the depots. Distance kind of sucks. I'm used to the IS300 now. That this thing is kind of garbage. For sure I need to aim these up a little bit higher. The step is just way too low right now. There's a dark spot maybe like 50 feet in front of me. That's the high beam right there. But yeah, definitely gotta aim these a little bit higher. This is kind of garbage on the driver's side. So I went back and adjusted the lights up more, and it's much better now. I can actually see on the road, and that cutoff or the drop off on the step is not as noticeable anymore. You can still see it on the road all the way down. All right, so I'm trying to adjust the horizontal. I discovered something weird about the horizontal adjustment on this headlight. You guys go here and look at the beam.
You see right here there's like a little cutoff or a dull line right there, and it's brighter down here, and I've been adjusting it trying to go this way, but all I've been doing is lowering that one. I think that side screw lowers one of the projectors, but not all of them. So there is no horizontal adjustment on this. It's only like a vertical adjustment on the main beam, and then that lower beam right there, which is one of the other two beams.
Another way you can see the beam too is right there on the floor. You can see those arches right there, and as you adjust the horizontal, the arch closest to you moves right here, and the closest, the arch on the outside is that other adjustment. So after messing around with this, I got a better idea of which one of these beams does what now. So the middle beam right here does a step. So if I cover up the middle beam, you can see it loses the step. The inside beam gives you that intensity right at the middle. It gives you the intensity right there, right below the cutoff. You can see when I put my hand over it, it gets dark. And then the outside does your width. So if I put it there, you can see the width disappears. On the driver's side, for some reason, I can't get that inner lens to go up anymore. See, it's right there at the bottom. That's as high as it goes. And then on the outside here, that's how I basically have it as high as I can go there on the width. So you can see that, and then the middle is the cutoff. So I think this is as best as I'm gonna get as far as the output goes. I've got everything lined up. It's as high as I can have it without blinding people. It doesn't give me that big dark spot in the middle, and I can actually see everything now on the road. With that inner driver's projector lower than the other side, you can see where the high beam or the bi-xenon or bi-LED high beam suffers on the driver's side. You can see on the passenger side, you get a much bigger beam and a much bigger pattern versus the driver's side. You see with the exposure down, you can see the distinct beams from each one of the projectors. I talked to HCmotion. My headlight right there, the left one for the driver's side, is defective. So that little spot right there is supposed to be up here where the cutoff is, so you get intensity up there when you're driving. So you see over here, that same hot spot is right on the cutoff where the intensity needs to be, not down here. So mine has that white spot or the bright spot closer to the car instead of in the distance. So they're actually gonna take care of this and send me a new driver's one. Once they send me that driver's one, I'll probably make another video to see what the output looks like, see if it matches the passenger side one, and how the output looks downfield.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me all the way to the end of this install video on those HCmotion headlights. As you can see, the output on them is much better than the old VLANs that I had on here, and they're about as comparable as the islands as I had on my depots. The initial beam that I had on the road wasn't that great. Once I adjusted it up, it was a little bit better. If you guys are interested in these same headlights, check out the links down in the description. I have links to the eBay store that HCmotion has set up, and you can order directly to them. Right now, it's pretty much all shipped from China, but I figure in the near future, they're probably gonna have USA stock, so that way you get it a lot quicker once you order it. If you guys found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel to stay on top of all my different mod videos, whether it's on the IS250, the IS300, the Sienna, or anything I'm doing around the house or the garage, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications so you're notified every time I upload. And remember, with all these different projects, guys, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.